Who could say no to an invitation like that? Eh?
I didn't know if I liked you in that. No, your character, not you. Obviously.
Well, we were trying to do that. That was
because you were manipulative as a pair. You were both a very manipulative pair, and then you kind of grew to understand.
Well, they had to be to survive in that court at that time. You had to be as good at playing the game as others were at trying to get you off the throne.
Did you learn a lot when you were doing the research for that?
I did. We touched upon the War of the Roses when I was at school, but of course at 14 my attention was elsewhere, so I had to go back to various bookshops and read about it. But it's such a fascinating period in history. It's no wonder they decided.
And amazingly popular. Were you surprised at the success of The White Queen?
I wasn't. You know, again, Philippa Gregory's books are very popular, and it is The War of the Roses, but when people appreciate your work, it always is a bit of a surprise. And yeah.
Now you've moved on to machination, plotting, deception and betrayal in the modern age in a play called Farragut North.
Farragut North, yeah.
Which is all about, actually based on the campaign of Howard Dean.
Howard Dean, Beau Willimon worked on his campaign in his early 20s and used a lot of that as his inspiration for this film. And it's about a young guy and a couple of other people involved in a presidential campaign, and their ambition and hunger for power and what they'll do to get that power.
The play was developed into a film, of course,
The Ides of
March. Yeah. So is it, I don't know if you've seen it or not, but it was a huge success. Is it difficult then to take that story and put it back on the stage when you know that a lot of people may have seen it on screen already?
Well, they're different. I mean, they have similarities, obviously, but they are different. But I haven't watched Ides of March in many years, thankfully, because, of course, trying to live up to, you know, Ryan Gosling doing something is just a nightmare. So I've just sort of focused on the play and got my head around that and forgot the film.
Interesting that from that way you're going from film to play, but you've also gone, well, you weren't in the play Posh,
yes,
but you've just finished filming the film of it.
Yeah, we have.
And it's always quite tricky because I think a lot of people who see a play are always a little bit disappointed by the film. It's almost like if you've read a book and then see it on television or a film.
Well, touch wood, I think Posh might be the exception. I mean, again, it's different to the play. Various things have been lost and various things have been added.
Just explain to our viewers, for anyone who doesn't know, what Posh is about.
Posh is Laura Wade's fictitious take on the sort of infamous Bullingdon Club at Oxford University, which was attended by David Cameron and George Osborne and Boris Johnson. And it's a look into the world of the Bullingdon Club. A rather unpleasant look.
Privileged boys.
Privilege.
Unpleasant behaviour.
Elitism, random acts of destruction, all sorts of things.
And very illuminating, sort of fascinating as well as it's dealt with in the play too. You come from an amazing acting dynasty, of course. Your dad, Jeremy Irons, your mother, Sinead Cusack, and your grandfather, and all sorts in the family who've been terribly successful at acting. And yet, it's not been as easy. It's been difficult, I think, for you in a particular way because you've had dyslexia to deal with as well. And for an actor, I mean, on stage, how on earth do you get around learning your lines?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. You have to learn your lines. I say that like I'm particularly good at it. My directors watching this is cursing the fact that I haven't learned all my lines for the play we're about to start in a week. But yeah, you know, you have to learn everything before you go in. If I have an audition and they say, can you read this? You know, I'll say, give me 5 minutes to prepare it, and then I'll come in and do a better job. You know, that's all it is. It's a small problem which I have, you know, I just have to get around.
You have to take more time and trouble with it than most people
Well, you
would.
know, some people come in and read. You know, I don't do that because I'll mess up. I'll come in and learn it.
What would you say to anyone aspiring now to enter the profession who does suffer from dyslexia?
Well, I think, you know, a lot of the time dyslexics have various little problems when they're at school, which they try to charm their way out of and pretend that, you know...
Did you?
Yeah. And I do think that has a direct link to the fact that I'm an actor, that I've sort of spent a lot of my time acting to teachers, pretending everything was okay, when in fact I was struggling. So don't let it be a problem. Use it as an advantage, and yeah.
To go back to the play, Farragut North, of course, it's a subway station in Washington where all the lobbyists
indeed
work. I mean, have you ever been to Washington, seen the political scene, working there, or have you just worked purely off the script?
No, I've been to Washington, but only for 3 days. Not really enough to get my head around all of that. But yeah, we've done quite a lot of research, and we've had people working on our behalf doing that because there's so much to research. Yeah,
and American politics is on the campaign trail, particularly in the primaries, is sort of gripping and fascinating, but also horrifying at the same time.
I know, and the stakes are so incredibly high, and what these people will do to promote their candidates is unimaginable. And it's, you know, you look at Posh, you look at Farragut North, and these are the people who run the country, you know, who end up running the country, and we don't have a clue what they're actually getting up to. You know, some of which is in our best interest, and some of which isn't. So it's interesting to have a look into that world.